It was very surreal to be an Indian artist walking in a sari across the stage. I think that was my biggest moment of pride, to be able to represent us South Asian women. And I think the coolest moment was when someone on my Facebook sent me a photo of their 6-year-old looking at the magazine and saying, "Thank you for being a role model to my daughter."
Oh my God. Ishita Singla is the founder of Madhuban Performing Arts, a dynamic collective of talented musicians and artists in Calgary. Ishita talks to us today about her experiences, her passion for dance, and her approach for building a community. Okay, so first off, you look gorgeous.
Thank you so much.
I love your sari.
Thank you.
My mom is like the sari queen in our family. Like, she has so many beautiful pieces. And I think my biggest disappointment is I don't know how to tie a sari.
I don't either.
Okay.
So if that makes you feel
That
better. This was actually the first ever sari I ever wore.
Wow.
And, I wanted it to be for a special moment. So this is the sari I wore for the top 40 ceremony. And I wanted to wear it today, just kind of as like an ode to that moment, but also to, embrace our culture and heritage. And I pre-stitch all my saris. So that's the trick. That's the trick.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think I have a couple that are pre-stitched and I'm like, this is so nice. Because like the pleating, I don't have the movements for it.
Me neither.
I can't do that.
Me neither.
So you wore this for the top 40 ceremony. That was in 2023.
Yes, that's correct.
Tell me about that.
It was honestly, it was such a surreal moment for, someone who looks like me to be walking that stage. Because I looked through all of the top 40 classes, and it was always like doctors, engineers, business people who are making such a big mark. And, as an artist, we have this imposter syndrome, if I have to name it. And we feel like we're not really making any substantial impact on the world, because that's how the world kind of views us, right? It's like, oh, a 5-minute dance. What does that even do for the world?
Right.
We're not solving any real world problems, as they like to call it. So it was very surreal to be an Indian artist walking in a sari across the stage. I think that was my biggest moment of pride, to be able to represent us South Asian women. And I think the coolest moment was when someone on my Facebook sent me a photo of their 6-year-old looking at the magazine and saying, "Thank you for being a role model to my daughter."
Oh my gosh.
And I was like just sitting there crying, because I was like, this is why we do what we do. And I mean, thank you to Avenue magazine for featuring people like us and getting our stories out there.
Yeah. And I mean, especially walking a stage with a sari, I feel like that's so impactful. Like, I feel like that's the shift. Like, when I grew up here, we were so not embarrassed, but not really owning our culture. Even for me, I think I started really owning it.
Yeah.
Maybe when I got into high school-ish, that's when you really start accepting it and saying oh, this is really cool. Like, you learn more. But I feel like now there's a shift where it's so recognized and impactful to wear a sari to these events that are not just a cultural event. It's for mainstream, and it's you can wear ethnic clothes. And that should be recognized and empowering and beautiful.
Absolutely. And I mean, in an era where, we are so globalized, I don't see why not. This is what defines us. This is what has been passed down through our mothers, grandmothers, and I embrace it. And I just realized I forgot my bindi, otherwise I would have been even more decked out.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I love saris. I think they're so beautiful. But tell me about your journey. So you are an artist.
Yeah.
Tell me about your journey about I read a little bit, you moved to Canada young, similar to me, and then you kind of became, do you always call yourself an artist? Did you know that as a
not at all.
Okay.
Oh my God. Okay, so I think Canada actually turned me into an artist.
Okay.
And the story is, when I moved here at the age of 11, I got bullied a lot in school, right? For the way I talked, I had an accent. People didn't like the food I would bring in my lunchbox, right? It was that time where it was still not okay to be in your own culture.
Yeah.
And I went to a school where I was like almost the only brown girl. So like I was like very identifiable, right?
Token.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so I think that journey of getting bullied, I remember there was an audition. So then I moved schools because like my parents were also kind of hopping around looking for opportunities. They were going through their immigrant struggles during that time. And when we moved to a more like culturally diverse area, I remember going to school and they played a Kal Hona Ho song on the PA, and they were like, we're looking for a talent show audition or whatever, right? And I was like, oh my God, this is for like Bollywood dancing. And like I froze, and I walked by the room where they were doing the auditions, and I walked past it because I was so scared.
Yeah.
Because over the year or and a half where I was bullied, I lost that confidence in being able to dance. So I had actually been dancing since I was 3. It was part of who I was. But when you're growing up in India, it's just considered a hobby, right? Because your academics come first.
Absolutely.
So like I was like that nerdy girl who danced at the same time, and then now I've moved to this new country. And now I'm scared to dance. And I remember my mom was like, Ishita, show me some moves. Like, let's get you back in there. Like, why did you not go to the audition? I need you to go to the audition. I need you to show me what you will do. And I was like shivering. And I think like that's where I realized that dancing meant so much to me. And it was so tied into my identity is when I don't feel confident in myself, I almost cannot dance.
Yeah, it's part of your identity almost.
Yeah.
For sure.
So, then I took the step. My mom really encouraged me, as she has all her life and my life.
That's lovely.
And I went to the audition, and they made me the lead of the little dance cohort they were making for Bollywood dancing.
Wow.
And that's where I regained my confidence. And I started doing all these like school performances. And it was still a hobby. And until I got recognized or like I guess poached for a professional dance company here in Calgary. When I was, I think I was 19 or 20. That's when like someone noticed me and they were like, can you join our dance group? And then that's when the journey started, because then I noticed that the industry was really flawed in Calgary, right, in the city. There were a lot of things that needed to be fixed around here because it was like a male-centric industry, which is very interesting to me. It would be like one male dance lead in the middle, and you're just like frolicking around him.
You're
like
backup dancers.
We're backup dancers to like the backup dancers. And I was like being kept for 5 hours, 6 hours to choreograph, but then there would be no credit to my name. And then, so a lot of gaps. And then that's when like Madhuban came to be.
And Madhuban, you started when you were 23 or something.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, that's young. I look back and I'm like, that's pretty young to really go out and start a dance troupe and kind of make it what it is today. Like I think now in the community, it's very well known.
Yeah.
And so how was that journey, and like how was, to start it and kind of get all these other artists involved?
Like, honestly, I didn't know what I was doing when I started it. All I knew is I wanted to do something different because I saw so many gaps, right? Like I saw that artists are not being treated fairly. They're not being, if you are going into a group, you're being your identity is being taken from you, and you're just kind of washed into this, like everyone looks similar, be similar size, and like fit into similar, like, you know what I mean? Like, and I was like, no, I'm not about this. And I want something that's more women-centric, like, and it brings out that flair. Because like most of our dancing superstars in Bollywood are all women.
Yeah.
So like, why not? And then, with that, it was just a journey of manifesting, I would say. It was a lot of manifesting because as soon as I started the group, I started meeting the right people.
Yeah.
So some of the founding members, even a graphic artist coming around and saying, hey, if you ever start a dance group, I'll make your logo.
Oh, wow.
Like I had to do almost nothing in the beginning. Like people were just knocking on my door going like, we're here for you. And I'm like, okay, this is so weird.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It was
like a sign from the universe.
The universe was like, I've got you.
Yeah.
Right? Because I think the universe witnessed my struggle with all these dance groups that I was struggling with and all the politics behind it. And like in my heart, I knew I wanted to do something genuine, and the universe recognized that and like rewarded it almost. Yeah.
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 And so how has it evolved from the when you started it X many years ago to now? How has it evolved? Maybe even in your vision and the way you guys are performing.
Oh, it's evolved a lot, but also not at the same time, right? Like the beauty of Madhuban is we always had big dreams, but we just didn't know where and how and when it'll happen. So we were like those big dreamers at a young age where we're like, we're gonna do our own productions. We're gonna go on a tour one day. We're gonna be like this big thing. And we used to say this back in the day. Like we used to say this 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And now it's starting to like shape up and happen. Now we are doing productions. We are taking our production to Edmonton. We are traveling to other places. We're going on cruises and performing. So it's
Wow.
slowly shaping up. We were in a Bollywood film. Like all those things that we collectively dreamt of are starting to shape up. It's just the way I guess we've evolved is, yeah, the number is larger. Like there's a lot more members now. We started off with a very humble group of 4 dancers, and then 8, and then slowly 12, and now we're like 40 some.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I've lost count. So it evolved in that way.
Yeah.
But the vision and the dream has still stayed honest and genuine. Yeah.
You know what's interesting is like I didn't always grow up in Calgary. I grew up in GTA, and there's a lot of dance groups. Like I don't know about Calgary here, but there we had like dance competitions between universities and stuff. So it was a very competitive, intimidating scene to enter the dance scene. And but what I'm hearing here, and I'm a dancer, but like definitely not that level. I'm just like a dancer like at the dance floor when the lights go low and kind of that vibe. But what I'm hearing from you is like it's more about community building. Because over there, it's a lot of competition and
Yeah.
intimidation. Over here, it's just like you've built this community.
Absolutely, because I felt that there wasn't any safe space for me to be me. So I wanted to give that back to the community. So Madhuban's main mandate is to make a safe space for artists to be themselves
Right.
and for them to be able to call Madhuban their third place. That's
Yeah.
basically the motivation behind it. Like, I don't want any artist to come to our space and feel like, oh, here's more work. Like, here's more expectations. Here's another person wanting me to be somebody I'm not. And this is the industry that does push you to be something you're not, like constantly. But we're moving away from that. We're trying to, instill those values where people are genuine to who they are. Because if you let an artist do what they do best and how they feel they can do it the best, you'll nurture them to showcase their true selves on stage, and I truly believe in that.
So with your role as the founder of it, are you also the choreographer? Are you also like you find the deals? Are you also like helping in mentorship for all these artists?
Yeah, so my role is multifaceted in a way. I am the choreographer, but that doesn't mean I'm the only choreographer. Our team is well equipped to choreograph without me and also like as a group. So that's something unique we do where we come together and actually choreograph pieces together as a group.
Yeah, that's so nice.
And everyone pitches in and everyone's ideas are heard. And, like it's a really nice way of getting everyone's thoughts and ideas into it. And also we do have a band side too. So we have a music team, which is also very robust. On the music side, I'm also kind of like overseeing what they're doing and then making strategies on how to get them out there. So a lot of outreach strategies, engagements, right? Like all of that. Then I also manage, any of the artistic strategies, right? So designing the shows that we're going to be doing. And since 2023, we started doing our own productions. So writing them from scratch, telling the artists what we want from them, and then kind of creating a show from scratch, basically.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah. But I have a really good team. So it's not just all on me. I don't want to be like sitting here saying that I do everything. Like I have some amazing dance team leads, music team leads, volunteers who help out with admin duties, even accounting. So there's a lot of people who are behind the scenes making it happen. I'm just literally the face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so nice. You need a team in order to be
Yeah.
successful, in order to kind of keep the vision going. So that's great that you have a good team. on top of all this that you're doing, you also have a full-time day job.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Yeah. So I work for the city of Calgary, and I'm with the fire department.
Oh, cool.
So I help with their marketing and communications.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's my full-time gig at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very different than being an artist.
Yes.
I
Yes.
mean, there's some marketing, maybe there's some creativity in there.
Yeah. So like the reason why I picked marketing as my like daytime career is because there's an overlap, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like before this, I was at the CBC for 5 years.
Oh, wow.
So there was a big overlap there because you're like constantly working with like multimedia artists, highlighting their stories, etc. So that gave me a lot of runway to work in that field as well. So yeah, so I do see marketing as a little more creative than any other field I could have gone into.
Yeah.
I considered law school for a little while, and my dad wanted me to go to Harvard Law, and I'm really glad I didn't listen to him.
Is this your like a brown parent thing? It's like, this is great, but like, keep studying.
Yeah, it was basically that. Yeah.
And so how do you find that, as an artist, and you've identified yourself as an artist, to having this day job that is very different?
Oh, it is definitely like sometimes you feel like you're living in two worlds. You feel like you're like wearing one hat like for 8 hours a day, and then you take it off quickly and you like put on your like sweats and like you're running off to a studio. But I almost love the thrill of it and how dynamic it makes me as an individual, because I learned so much from working in a place where I'm working with such talented people. So I learned something more about like how do you organize things, how do you project manage something, and then those skills are transferable into my artistic director role. Because before Madhuban, I didn't want to be a full-time artist. I didn't want to be an artist, right? Like that was a hobby.
Right.
It kind of came to me. So nobody ever taught me how to manage a group. Nobody ever taught me how to like choreograph a production or write a production. It was kind of like I have to pick up pieces from here and there. And my day job actually teaches me a lot of that, interestingly enough.
Yeah.
And even marketing, because I think a lot of artists struggle to market themselves. And that's something that like I see like workshops popping up for, and like people are doing seminars on like, if you're an artist, this is how you market yourself. And like, oh my God, glad I got a degree in this. It's kind of transferable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were saying how a little bit earlier about how like, artists do need a full-time income to support themselves. And, the world still doesn't see it the same way.
Yeah. So for many years, like we fought to be paid. And I know artists and groups that are dissipating because they are not paid enough.
They're not recognized for their,
No.
they don't see it as work, right?
No, like organizers, community organizers, or like even corporates, like they need to do a better job of paying their artists, like budgeting for artists. So like you can't just expect artists to come in and volunteer their performances.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like that's just not fair.
Yeah.
And like, it's like, oh, they'll just be like, oh, it's just a 5-minute dance. Like you can just move here. And I'm like, then you do it, right? Like,
Exactly.
why are you wasting my time, right?
Yeah.
So the problem becomes that artists want exposure and they need the exposure to be able to do what they do, but not at the expense of themselves.
Yeah.
And so, unfortunately enough, there's not enough money in the market for me to go full-time as an artist.
Right.
To sustain it. And that's the story of almost every artist I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so true to think about, right? I think we see so many artists in the community and we support them, but it's kind of like, I don't know, as a whole, I don't think we support them enough. We're kind of like, oh, that's nice. We want to buy Canadian made and local made and all these things. But when it comes to it, a lot of us just don't see it. We don't value it enough. I think that slowly tides are changing. But like, I do think that every artist that I know has another job, has another way of kind of, supporting themselves because of the society we live in. Everything's also so expensive. So, until we value their art, of course, they're going to be doing other things.
Definitely true. I only know one person in my entire collective who's working as a full-time artist now.
Wow.
And they took that leap by like a lot of like they had to take that risk.
Yeah.
Because they really wanted to do it. But like not everyone can afford that life. Yeah.
And with that, I mean, I'm sure like starting a group, starting Madhuban had its challenges. But I wonder, like, maybe not from your story, but from others, like, I've always been encouraged to dance. Like, my family has always been, when people come over, it's like either you sing or you dance for the uncles. So I always danced because, like, I can't sing. But then there's some families who are much more conservative, who don't support the arts, who don't support women, girls as dancers or performers of any kind. Have you experienced that, in the diaspora and the collective you're working in?
Oh, absolutely. So actually, like my parents are not very conservative, so they always encouraged me to dance. But what happened is when I was starting Madhuban in 2015, 2016, my dad was getting calls from the community. And they were calling him to tell him and warn him that your daughter is going down the route of dance and art and it's not a good look on you.
Wow.
And I remember that time being so rough for my parents and me because we just didn't see eye to eye. My dad was like increasingly getting worried about my future because he was being fed this narrative that if she goes down this route, she's not going to finish her school. She's not going to like get a proper job. She's going to be ashamed. She's going to bring shame to the family. So I went through a lot of like turbulence in the starting, trying to explain to my family that no, like what you're hearing from the outside is just noise, and that I have my eye on the prize, like whatever that prize may be, where I want to make dancing and art more respectable and significant because I don't want it to be seen as something that's something shameful.
Yeah.
Because that is sad. Like dance is a part of our culture and heritage for years.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dating back to almost 5,000 years ago, like, where dance was used to tell stories of our culture and heritage. So why is it seen as a shameful act? That never made sense to me. But I think the cool success story of that is those same uncles and aunties who are calling my parents now want me to mentor their kids.
I love that.
So
it's like the best feeling.
Yeah, because I see that as not a revenge, but a win that they're seeing the value in being an artist. They're seeing that you can be an artist and you can be intellectual. You can be an artist and you can be respected in society and you can have a voice.
Yeah. I love that. That's so lovely. And you're right. I it's petty to think of it as revenge. That's where my brain went. It's like told you in your face. But I think it's not just a win for you. Yeah, I think it's a win for the community.
Yeah.
It's a win for those kids especially that they get to express themselves and they have an outlet that's not just, academia or something else or sports. It's actually, really being able to communicate how they feel through art.
Yeah.
Whatever that art form may be.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
That's lovely. I love that story. That's great. Tell me a little bit about the types of dance forms you have and the music.
Oh my God. I think we do it all. Like, I don't know what we don't do. So let me start. Okay, so we have in our collective, we have Bharatanatyam dancers, we have contemporary dancers, dancers who are trained in ballet, semi-classical, Bollywood, and folk styles. So Bhangra and all of these other different styles, Lavani, and in music, we have a 10-piece band. So we have 10 people, right? And they do different things, including a beatboxer who is now like top 4 in North America or something.
Oh, cool.
So like I've lost track of how many ranks he's gone up.
All the accomplishments.
Yeah. So there's really cool musicians on our team who can do like almost absolutely anything. Like our music team lead is like the president of Ragamala Society at the same time. So these are people who are contributing to the society like at all times, right? Like our dance team lead was on MasterChef Canada.
Oh, cool.
So there's many people who are just doing a lot of things, but they're also bringing that skill set to the team.
They're doing it well.
They're
being recognized
yeah.
everywhere. Wow.
Like I hang out with really cool people. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
This is actually interesting because you're in the industry. I saw this like online debate about dance, about how, like people are doing contemporary dance moves to classical songs, wearing classical outfits. And that's like a big dialogue. You're nodding, so I'm guessing you've heard about this whole thing. What do you think about that? Like, how does that all fit in?
See, dancing is dancing for me. I'm an untrained dancer. I'm a self-taught dancer. So I know there are a lot of different schools of thought where it's like leave the traditional, be traditional, and like they're like don't mix it with like fusion stuff, like, like kind of draw those boundaries. But we're also in 2026.
Right.
So I think things should evolve with time. And like, for example, when we do our shows, we mix a lot of different styles. Like we weave a lot of different styles into our work. So when we did a show on Ramayan, we had English songs and we had different dance forms that you won't see in a Ramayana show, but it was received well. Nobody thought it was like misplaced or anything. I feel like
That's such a relief because
yes,
sometimes people are like really intense about these things. I mean, as they should be. That's their right. But that's great that you were able to incorporate that.
Yeah, so I did think that they were gonna throw tomatoes and eggs at me, but it was like honestly surprisingly received really, really well. Like, we had songs that were so unconventional. We had people doing styles that you won't see in a traditional show. And we do our shows in English. So like from the language itself, we've kind of gone the unconventional path.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think if you stick to the story, if you're a storyteller through art and you're doing it genuinely, it really shouldn't matter what the medium is. Because art is art is art. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I think it's so cool when people mix, like, you do like Kathak to a rap song.
Yeah.
Or like, whatever people are doing. You're wearing traditional outfits, but doing really cool, unique forms of dance. I mean, I don't want to sound uncultured for naming the wrong thing, so I won't. But when I see those videos, I think it's just so cool because people are passionate. They've done their due diligence. They know the history behind it, and they're not trying to disrespect it.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing is I've never seen art or, the classical music being disrespected. I think it's trying to be evolved or innovated.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's how it should be seen. I think everyone should open their minds to different experiences. And like when you bring these different styles together, it's so beautiful. Like we've had our beatboxer and a Bharatanatyam dancer collaborate.
Cool.
And that was like one of the coolest performances I've seen.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah, it was so cool. Like, and I think like, why are we restricting ourselves from experiencing those things? And that's what makes Madhuban so magical for me because I get to see that on the daily, like just raw and like unfiltered. Like we're just in the studio and you see people just breaking out into different styles and doing different things. And it's super cool.
Just hearing that, it sounds like it would be such a cool place to witness and just feel creative and like, get energized. Like everyone's so passionate, it sounds like. So just being in that space, like you can't help but feel it too. So that's great that you've cultivated a space. And of course your team has like fostered it, but the fact that it exists now, I think that's incredible to see.
Thank you so much. It means a lot. Like I really want to give credit to the team because I think they bring that passion every day. And if I didn't have that buy-in from them, the fact that Madhuban is a not-for-profit and that they're volunteering their time and effort, I think it's a blessing in this day and age because we're just all coming together for the same purpose of creating real art, genuine art, and, respecting our heritage and earning that trust from the community that we're here to be ambassadors of the culture and not to shame us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that looks different for everyone. So they should just accept it.
Yeah.
So if someone wants to get involved, how would they reach out to you or the team? Like if they are some sort of artist, how would they reach out to you?
So you can reach, we're everywhere. So we're on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, you name it, Spotify. So you can just look for Madhuban Performing Arts and contact us. It's as easy as that. Like we're an audition-based team. So all they have to do is send us a video and then we find we find the stream that works the best for your skill set.
Okay.
And that's how we go about it.
And then they're just part of the troupe? Like is that how, I'm just asking, like if they're part of the troupe, like if there's a performance that gets booked, would they get reached out to then? Is that how
So we actually meet on the regular. So the collective actually meets 2 times a week.
Okay.
So I'm telling you, they're putting in a lot of passion and work into this. We're not sporadic at all. We work around the clock throughout the year. We barely take any breaks, and we have strategies in place, and it works much like an organization. And they get to know about what the opportunities are. They can sign up for them. They can sit out of it. But our training is a year-round thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of commitment. So yeah, if they're committed, if they're passionate, reach out to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And what are your plans for the future for Madhuban?
Oh my God. So we're expanding to other parts of the country in a way. Like, we're not starting branches or anything, but we are taking our Ishita show, which is the Ramayana show I was telling you about, to Edmonton on March 1st. So that's happening soon. And so that's our first, expedition into touring our show. So the team is very excited. And we might be doing something in Regina soon. And this year also happens to be our 10th year.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so it's a very good year for us. So we are taking a moment to reflect back on our own journey, and we're building a show that celebrates us. And so that's going to be in October in Calgary, where we are going to invite the community to come and just celebrate with us. And it's going to be this banger of a production. We're trying something really new with that, and it may be something that Calgary has actually never seen before.
Oh my God, I'm excited.
Yeah.
Okay. I have to mark my calendar already.
Absolutely.
I didn't know about the I See the show. Otherwise, that sounds lovely. So maybe I have to drive down to Edmonton.
I think she does.
Maybe I'll go to Edmonton. I've been to Edmonton once, I think, living in Calgary. So I should go more.
You can hop on the bus with us.
Okay,
how about
perfect.
that?
That sounds fun. So now for the last question. I can't believe we're at the end. But this is something we ask all our guests is, what advice would you give to your younger brown girl self?
Oh, wow. That's such a loaded question.
It doesn't have to do anything with our conversation.
Yeah.
It can, but it doesn't have to.
I think I would tell my younger brown self to always trust the gut feeling I have in my little tummy here, because I feel like I always doubted myself a lot throughout the years, right? Like I would always take a moment where I would be like, am I a good leader? Is are the rumors correct? Are they, you know what I mean? Because you'd always hear negative talk, lashback from the community, oh, she's not doing this for the right reasons. She's doing it to be she's doing it for political reasons or this and that. And I was only trying to be a genuine artist. So it's you always hear things about yourself, and you sometimes buy into it, and it kind of takes away from your confidence. So I think I would tell my younger self to believe in yourself. And I know that sounds very cliche, but it's one of the hardest things to do. And just have that sense of confidence and security that you're going to make the right decisions no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, that's advice. You're right. It sounds simple, but it's not.
No.
Because to believe in yourself consistently, every day, every decision. And also, I mean, I think it's important to have that reflection, am I on the right track?
Yeah.
But to not doubt your own self when you're doing that reflection.
Absolutely, because there's a thing called decision fatigue, which I didn't even know was a thing, which I go through almost every day. Where I'm even struggling to pick a chunk of a video to put on Instagram, right? Because I'm making so many different kinds of decisions for the team at all times. And sometimes it may make someone unhappy, and that burden sits on your shoulder. So I think it's just keeping your intentions genuine and knowing that what you're doing is for the greater good of the community you're building. You're almost like a mother at that point, and you have to just be confident that you would do the best for your child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good way of putting it. So.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that brings us to the end. Thank you so much. This was such a good conversation. I learned so much, not just about Madhuban, but the art that you've created. The entire team is working so hard. And I know, I've heard about you in the community, so I'm glad I get to actually know more about it, because I always see you perform out in the community. But, again, we don't really think about all the hard work that goes behind the scenes. So thank you for bringing that into light.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.